Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Learn From Us podcast. I'm Seth. This is Paul. This is like maybe number 85 or 90.
This is up there.
We're getting up there.
We're getting up there, kids.
My podcast hero, Joe Rogan's clipping like 1350 or 1360 now, so we have a few more thousand to go to get to there.
Well, actually,
At that point, we'll be rich and famous, world famous.
yes, world famous.
We're going to keep having some more. We're going to start. We have had some guests, and we want some more guests.
So we're going to bring
some people. So we're actively talking to some folks, getting traveling to us, and getting this done. As far as I know, I'm with Paul. We're never going to bring on someone like via Skype because it's just not as fun.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just ridiculous.
It's not the experience we want.
Most of the times I come to Paul with I don't know what the hell's going on, but so I bring him a topic. But Paul, this is reversed a little bit. Tell me what you're thinking today.
So you know that I'm writing this book.
Tell me about it.
So my chess coach, that's right, I did not stutter. My chess coach, Matt, thinks that I have interesting things to say. He doesn't always agree with me.
I do too.
He's tried, so he's always tried to get me to write. And I'm like, I've tried to write a book before and it stalls and blah, 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 blah. So recently he just kept harassing me about it and finally decided to do it. And I'm 31,000 words into it.
Is that a lot?
I mean, it's about 150 pages, 120 pages, 130 pages. My goal is to keep it around 150 to 200 at the high side, very high side.
No, I thought the world is not. I mean, do we need another ED book, erectile dysfunction book? Is the key. So no,
I can't see Tim's face because he's through the pillar here. So.
Tell me what it's about.
Well, it's just every chapter. The great thing about every chapter is on its own, so you don't need to read from beginning to end. You can skip around, see some topics. But one of the things I've always tried to do is...
Yes, I'll write the prologue.
You should write the prologue.
Go ahead.
Great idea.
Go ahead.
One of the things I've always tried to do with investing is, the thing I've gotten a compliment about is breaking things down into very simple forms. So I use analogies, right?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest analogies I always talk about is relationship analogies. This is not what I want to talk about today, but it's an example. That when bubbles burst and when markets fall, whether it's real estate or stocks, people always want to blame one event that happened. And I always tell people, no, it's like a divorce. There is one final fight that caused you to go, you know what, we're done here. But that final fight isn't what caused a divorce. It was a bunch of things leading up to it that finally you just sat there and said, it's the capitulation point of, I'm done here. Let's move on, right?
Yeah.
That's because I always talk about analogies with relationships. People get that. But then I was thinking this weekend, I was driving around, minding my own business. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
Oh, Tommy Boy, just driving along the road. And David Spade grabs his arm. He's like, not now, damn it.
Yeah, go on.
Anyhow, and I was thinking, fashion.
Go on.
You ever look at pictures of yourself from 20 years ago and go, what the fuck was I thinking?
I just fired up some old photos last night. I couldn't sleep. I started cleaning out the basement.
Yeah? Oh.
And found some old photos of me with the Larry Nance jersey in the late 80s.
You didn't bring them here today?
They'll soon hit the internet in a furious...
You've got to put these on Facebook.
They're funny. I mean, yeah, so it's funny.
But what are you looking back at those pictures and thinking?
Well... Again, I love a book called Unfuck Yourself. And I think they talk about in the book about how almost every decision in our life was right in our mind at the time.
Oh!
And then almost wrong looking back. And the point of the book says is you've been wrong your whole life and you're still here. You're fine. Go, Paul. You're about...
This is exactly what I want to talk about today.
Wow.
We look at our fashion decisions from 20 years ago and we think to ourselves, what the fuck were we thinking? At the time, though, like we're like, man, look how much better we look now. What are we going to say 15 years from now, 10 years from now? The same thing happens in investing.
Tell me about it.
Every time something bad happens, we look back on it and go, what the fuck were we thinking? That was so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you hit record? Good.
No, I just turned our beautiful backlights on. Say it again, though. I cut off the punchline. Go.
We always look back and go, what the hell were we thinking? Tech stocks, what the hell were we thinking given $30 billion values to companies with no revenue? Real estate, what the hell were we thinking given strippers and minimum wage people loans to buy homes? What were we thinking we were doing? But in the moment, we always think we're right. But for some reason...
Yes.
For some godforsaken reason, very few people can in the moment say, this doesn't seem right, based on what I've seen in the past. But you go out to the streets and you hear people talk about Bitcoin, all these things going up. Do you still have your Bitcoin? Yes, you do. You're still going up, and all these things happen.
I plan on selling it during the podcast.
You have to. I look at this thing is this is amazing. People don't get this.
Yes.
We're going to sit there and look at our fashion decisions and realize how stupid it was, and now realize that we're going to look stupid in the future. But investing decisions that we have 150 years of history to show us how we are wrong and how we can be right, and we still fucking ignore it day in and day fucking out. You know why? It's different this time, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, it is not different this time. It is never different. But we always look back and say, what the fuck were we thinking? Just like when the people who sold in 2009 because they were scared. What the fuck were they thinking? You know what they're thinking? They were thinking in the present. They were thinking right then and there, because it's very difficult to take yourself out and say, well, why is this the way it is today?
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it too, by the way. The same thing goes with me thinking that stocks will fall. I was wrong on that one. Why? Because I sat there and said, well, I'm ignoring the facts of today, which was saying they could go higher and higher without me understanding why. So it goes both ways. And you're smirking. Why are you smirking?
I was going to see if I could sell my Bitcoin right now.
What's it at, by the way? Don't sell it. Well, sell it, but don't sell it. I don't know.
I'll sell it.
You'll sell it, and then I'll hate myself when it's like...
No, this is a lot of money. $25,000 in Bitcoin is a lot of money.
It's at $10,335.
It's a lot of money to me.
It is.
To anybody.
It's anybody. But that's the whole point. Like, we always look back and look at fashion and go, what the fuck were we thinking? And then we go, yeah, but we say... And I always hear people say, and we'll say this about ourselves 10, 15 years from now. I watched Entourage 3 years ago, all the seasons again. It was only like 10 or 11 years old. I was like, what the fuck are these outfits? These are terrible. Like, These are the worst outfits ever. Flip phones. What the fuck were we thinking? But yet, when it comes to investing, we never think to ourselves, Jesus Christ, we were so dumb back then, but we're right now. 100% right now.
Yeah.
The exact same plot line. Different characters, but it's the exact same plot, and we still ignore it. It wasn't anything profound, but I look at it going, I want people to grasp how these things are so similar to other aspects of our lives, yet we continually fight it. For some reason, with money and investing, we fight logic. For some reason. Why is that, Seth?
Yeah, I mean, I have these same conversations obviously outside of podcasting and talking to you about some of my peers that don't think, they think like everyone else. And it's a confusing thing, you know. I brought up, I was going to have a buddy of mine. I wanted to have a buddy of mine on a podcast, but he's very adamant about, you know, we talked about before multiple podcast topics about paying off your house early and the pros and cons of that. And he's just a huge proponent of that. And I think, like you said before, is you never know what people went through. Then I realized, like you said, look, if it makes you feel better, you can pay your house off. And
no, I just sit there and say, I'm not going to argue with that because that's an emotional, I get it.
Then I realized he was homeless for 2 years.
Was he really?
Living in his car.
Oh.
And he's been screwed over by his dad, you know, like, and so maybe to him, that's like the goal, right? Like that would be the end all be all. And it's a great feeling to have. But yeah, no, I mean, what are you seeing? This popped into your mind because what are you seeing people do that frustrates you?
Everybody who buys stocks in real estate right now. It is complete. Like, I have numerous stories of just asinine thing. A friend of mine the other day, I think he listened to the podcast. He said to me, if I ever have a real estate deal, you'd like to invest. I go, but wait, I thought I'm nervous. No way. He's like, no, that's with stocks. With real estate, I think you do a good job. I'm like, it's the same fucking thing. Investment analysis is investment analysis, whether it's stocks, bonds, real estate, a good analyze. That's why when people say, oh, you're a real estate guy, that drives me nuts. I'm an investment guy.
Yeah.
I'm an investment person. And I can understand investments because I can think about it in the proper way. Whether it's real estate, stocks, bonds, whatever it is, given the time to go learn it, if I don't know about it, I will be fine, right? I will understand it better than most. Does that mean I'll be perfect? No, absolutely not. I'm not perfect at anything.
Yeah.
But when I see somebody post on Facebook the other day bragging about buying a property at a higher price than we just oversold. We sold a property a year ago at an astronomical amount of money and the guy's struggling. This property, he paid almost the amount of money for much lower rents. And he's bragging about it. He's like, oh, this is going to be a great deal. I'm like, okay. And guess what? If there is an issue someday that he has, because he's not a wealthy guy, he will say, the market screwed me. Yeah. The economy screwed me. No, poor decision making screwed you. Look at your outfits from 10 years ago. You wouldn't wear those today. Think about the way you thought about the way you look at, and you realize that you're going to look stupid in 10 years from now, but it's still, you have to sit there and take yourself out of the situation and say, okay, what am I missing? And the reason I bring this up is I'm very guilty of this. Because I looked at the Amazon stuff that I thought, and even the stock stuff so much. Like, I didn't realize how much the stock market could go up. I could have made a lot more money, but it didn't make sense to me. At least then I could sit there and say, I still took an analysis of the fundamentals and thought, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Did I think it was going to go to the highest levels in history? Because people don't realize how we're at the highest levels in history, or pretty close to it, even in many metrics worse than 1999 and 2000 in the stock market. What are you typing away at there?
Amazon.
1840.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got up to 2050. Got as low as 1350 in December. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And I look at that going, is that stable? Is that what we want?
You know, I am waiting
Patiently.
I'm waiting to get out of Bitcoin at obviously a better price, which is the
You're always going to say that, by the way.
I'm always going to say that. So, but I do love, you bring up what Warren Buffett talks about. The idea is if you can't understand it, you're not going to get involved. And I'm like, yeah, you know, like I'm not going to trade vintage silver era baseball cards because I'm just not.
Why not?
I'm just not. But there's plenty of money to be made.
But that's a great statement. But yet you're going to go do Bitcoin. Seth, I'm a pretty smart guy. I don't get what to me, I'm like, I don't get what the big deal about Bitcoin is.
And, you know, I've had these conversations with people who are really into it. And I think they even struggle to describe it. Like,
of course. Just like, you know what this reminds me of?
Go on.
CDOs back in the credit default obligations or whatever it's called. Nobody could explain how these things made money.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Good for you. It ends up in disaster. Like I said to you before, great. You keep doing real estate deals. I guarantee his best deal is worse than our good deal, our worst deal. And I look at that saying, your job, he feels his job is to do as many deals as possible. Some will do well, some won't. I feel my job is to do the best possible deals at all given times. If there are no good deals out there, I don't do the best deal at that shitty time. My job is to wait for the best possible deals that gets me above average return on my money. If not, why not just put the money in stocks and wait 40 years and retire?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. But I look at the fashion stuff and I'm like, God, we look at the way we look today and we're like, yeah, we look pretty good. And 10 years from now, we're going to be like, what the hell are we doing? But yet we don't do that with investing. Even though we have 150 years of investing history to look back on and see where we made mistakes. But we don't pay attention to that. So anyways, my book will be available. It'll be sold at cost because I have no desire to make money off of it.
What?
Yeah, because I think it's pretentious to think I'm writing a book. I just want a book out there so that people can go, let me just see what Paul's thoughts on the world are. Business, life, investing. It'll be between $6 and $10 on Amazon. And it'll be hardcover because I don't like paperback.
When is it going to come out?
I'm hoping a year from now. Because I'm going to finish it.
Is there a speaking tour with book signing?
Yeah, we'll do it here in the basement. I'll sit over there on that bench. You can be the bouncer. And turn back both people. I don't care if you're Paul's mom. You get the hell out of here.
That's right. Back of the line, bitch.
But I'm going to have Mr. Seaver edit it. Stan the man, remember him?
A teacher from our high school.
Yeah, he's a chess player too.
Wow.
I'm going to have him proofread it. Matt's helping me. Matt's going through it. It's 64 words right now, single spaced. 31,900 words or something like that. And I do a minimum 300 words a day, but I'm averaging about 590 words a day.
Like, who's going to print this, publish?
Oh, you can self-publish.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can self-publish very easily. Well, remember, I'm not writing this book thinking that I'm going to be on some New York Times bestseller. I'm writing it because I want investors of mine, as we grow our investor group, to go, let me understand what Paul, because I think that to say that my thoughts are real estate related is so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
My thoughts are...
Well, the funny part is we've been talking for months about rebranding this very podcast.
Yeah. About a lot of different things, because it is a lot of different things.
Yeah. And you always say it always comes back to the idea of, you know, our personal thoughts and decisions sort of will shape our investment thoughts and decisions. So prior to this one about investing, we talked about transgender movements.
Yeah.
In the last episode. So...
But they're all interrelated, though. I really think that's why people get mad at me when I say, oh, that person said this and it's so stupid, I dismissed them. It is wrong of me to do that. But at the same token, the reason that goes in my head is I say, if that was your logic here, I got to think you're going to apply the same sort of logic to other things or else you're inconsistent. Just like I had a conversation with my quote unquote black car driver, and when we were coming back to going to the airport, and he told me that business owners don't pay their employees enough a fair wage. And then I said to him, have you run a business? He's like, of course I have. I'm like, did you pay your employees well? He's like, the best out there. I'm like, and that's why you're sitting in the front of this car driving me and not a business owner anymore. And Lisa was like floored. She was like, I can't believe you said that. And then later on, she's like, yeah, but you're right. I'm like, first off, I don't.
You said that to a guy in London?
Yes. But first off, I don't believe him for a second that he said he was
business owner.
Yeah, he was a business owner. I don't believe that for a second. Not for 1 second. Because a real business owner would not say, like, would understand. And he was like, well, no, I'm going to give. I'm like, but I told him, like, it's completely subjective. We got off topic. The whole point is it's all about the thought processes we have. And to me, that's indicative of what you think about. Now, that doesn't mean you can't change your thought process. Seth, I know you've, quote unquote, changed your thoughts a lot in the last, I mean, even you took me the other day and said, maybe I'm libertarian.
I'm just confused at this point, really. But
we all, listen, I hate saying I'm Republican because I'm not. But people always assume if you're not Republican, what are you? You're Democrat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking at going, it's not the way it is. Just like investing. I even look back at the mistakes I've made in investing, and I sat there and said, you know what? I didn't handle that the right way because of X, Y, and Z. Not just a regret over missing out on gains, going, no, I just handled that wrong. Like even I could have still done, I was too black and white about it. You know what I mean? I look at that going, damn, that cost me money. Being too black and white. Gray sometimes does work. Not where you're sacrificing your beliefs, but not being as hard lined about your beliefs, saying, listen, okay, do I think that these are maybe richer times? Yeah, but I should have been more aggressive in other methods to finding other deals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I should have been looking for smaller companies to invest in stocks, not larger companies. I always reserve myself to large companies. And my friend Gary, who tutors me in investing, goes, no, that's wrong. You're going to find better deals in small companies because people are going to overlook them. Why are you smiling?
Oh, I just had a similar conversation involved magic cards.
Oh, Magic the Gathering?
Yeah.
Could you please explain that to me?
Well, I mean, people are going to laugh because it's some nerdy, stupid game, right?
Do you still play it?
I mean, I know how to play like checkers, but I don't play.
Pick checkers.
I mean, I know how to play. I'm just not actively playing it.
Usually people say chess or something like that. You're like, yeah, checkers. I have a PhD in chemistry, and my go-to was checkers.
But so just it's just a strange thing. I'm sure there are other collectible things in this world. For these Magic the Gathering cards, they've just gone up and up and up and up and up, and they've
in value,
and they've powered past. They have powered past all forms of recession and
for what reason? How many do you have?
It's not about the number. Like it's for me, it's a gut-wrenching thought that 11 years ago, a car that you would just throw away, you literally just gave away,
is now worth
$40, $50, $70, $100,000.
100,000?
Not 100,000.
Oh, Jesus.
But there are $100,000 cards.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
I mean, but no, like $40. I mean, but my point is, going from a penny to 40 is better from going from 1,000 to 2,000.
Right, of course.
And so,
good. By the way, that's a very good statement you just made there, because a lot of people wouldn't see that.
Well, I just had a friend, and my point about why I brought this up is he's been almost a pricing forecaster since late 90s and early 2000s when I got in this game with him, and we always talk. He always gave me these tips. I never listened.
Yeah,
I sold at the wrong times. I didn't keep when I was supposed to. And so now I have all these gut-wrenching stories about how I had all these amazing cards for no money, and now there's $1 zillion. I needed money to pay for our dog. Listen, folks, I know kennels are great, but I bought a dog. I didn't want like...
Lenny?
Yeah, I mean, I bought him. Like,
Lenny's the best.
Right. I didn't go to get a rescue dog. Like,
or as Bill Burr calls it, a free dog. Because whenever we just call it what it is, it's a free dog.
Oh.
He goes, everybody's talking about like, oh, I rescued this dog. No, you went and got a free dog, you cheapskate.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of dogs that need help. Some of our dear friends like drive up and down the coast, like transferring dogs to like shelters.
Oh, really?
They're very, I mean, yeah.
Who are these people?
Friends of ours.
Oh, okay.
Not that they're bad. It's great, I guess. I mean, like, but for me, it's like I've had some mutts and I've seen what
Lenny's a great dog, by the
way.
way.
Mutts act and what all the. So I was like, you know what? I have this breeder, not like a puppy mill. I was like, I have this wonderful person in my life that makes these dogs, and they're incredible. And
these dogs.
She makes like like 8 dogs a year, and I'm going to get one of them.
And-
But I
and-
sold one Magic card for this dog.
Seriously.
Yeah, I had one card that I was like, all right, I'm holding on to this, whatever. And I was like, well, I kind of need the cash for this dog. It'd be nice, equal trade, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was a $35 card that I got many years ago, and it turned into a $2,000 card, and I sold it and paid for the dog. But anyway, the forecasting is, again, it's the same thing. All these pricing goes up, so what do people do? Buy,
Yeah.
right?
Why? Because they see it going up. They don't want to miss out.
Yeah, right. So what he's trying to forecast is, all right, forget all this high stuff. What are these
Crappy one's going to do.
penny stocks? Where is the trend that these are going? Maybe we can invest a small amount of money in some of these lower end cards, and maybe they don't go up into the thousands, but if they go from $2 to $20, that's enormous.
Yeah.
Plus, I can get a hold of these little 20s. Excuse me, I don't know what that was. I shouldn't drink pop before podcasts.
Is that even pop? It's sparkling water.
Well, it's got carbonation to it. So.
All right. Well, that's not
Anyway,
disrespect
so
Coke for me.
don't get into Magic cards, but if you do, they will always go up for 30 years, just letting you know.
That's not the case at all.
Well, I think what it
Do
is.
not listen to Seth, what he just said.
I think
there.
what it is there's a limited number of cards and there's an increasing number of players.
Oh, there are increasing numbers of players?
Oh, absolutely. 30, 40 million in the world.
And there's a decreasing, there's a set number of cards?
Set number of cards.
They're not making more.
Well, they're making new cards, but they're not making any more Honus Wagners.
Ah.
And the Honus Wagners exist. So the more newbies that get in, they are now they're more attracted to the Honus Wagners.
Honus Wagner, for all of you guys who know, is like the most expensive baseball card like in history.
Yeah.
It's like the first baseball card of that gum pack. Or was it a gum pack or?
Oh, I don't know. It's definitely from like the teens, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
There was a guy in Ohio that cleaned out grandma's attic and found just like so many of those. It was just recently. It's in Ohio. Cleaned out grandma's attic and found like pristine,
Honus
amazing
Wagner.
collection. I don't know if it was a Honus Wagner, but it was like around that time. But the point is, yeah. But I guess that's the argument for Bitcoin: is it's a limited number of coins and an increasing number of interest in it, which is going to drive the price up in the future. That's what some people are saying.
Ohio. There's a $3,000 one on Etsy. On eBay, sorry.
It's like a
Oh, here we go. $3 million worth of baseball cards found in Ohio
$3
attic.
million
2012.
Wow, that's God. See, I was just like, yeah, just a couple years ago, 7 years ago.
Isn't that incredible? But 2012 feels like 2 years ago.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Defiance, Ohio.
Yeah, by Canton.
I thought Defiance is by Toledo.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Alliance is by
Alliance,
Canton.
Defiance. Yeah, anywho, so
1910 top condition baseball cards. Once he realized he was holding this, he quickly moved the cardboard box across the street to a bank vault.
wow. 1910. It's amazing. So I would say, like, people laugh about magic. About 12 years ago, I was like getting out of magic, and I set up over the course of a couple months, I set up 400 eBay auctions of cards.
Wow.
And the most number of cards in each auction was 4. It was like you sell sets of 4s, which you play with like playing cards, right? There's 4 7s. And in one night, I made $28,000 selling those cards. That was like, I needed money. I'm moving on with life. I'm going to sell these 400 auctions. 28 grand. Now that money right now, Paul, those same 400 auctions is most likely at least 150 to 200,000. So my wife is tired of hearing about this because I have had cards where like I had cards that were like $10. They're now 2,000.
Poor Beth.
And so I'm like rolling in my sleep like I can't freaking believe it.
Poor Beth.
But my other buddy is coaching me like let's not let 5 years from now us saying why didn't we grab more of those when we knew this is going to happen, or vice versa.
Well, listen, if prices have gone down, because even though there's a lot of demand for something, doesn't mean that the price will go up forever, infinite, to infinity or whatever the word is.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
But every time I freaked out and sold, it was a bad idea.
Should I call Beth right now and say, hey, Beth, I got these Magic the Gathering cards. What do you think about this?
She's hilarious. I mean, like, I handle most of the finances and make decisions with your help about like what big purchases. But I have these conversations with people, and like Beth's like, oh, looks like you just want a Magic card on eBay. You got an email. I'm like, I guess there's a little bit of trust to know that like when we bought our first house, I sold Magic cards to pay for it, like pay for the down payment. Yeah, I mean, I was a graduate student. I made $1,200 a month.
$1,200 a month?
$1,200 a month for the lifespan of my graduate. This was in 2009. So we needed a down payment for a house before I even got a job because we were like getting a job. I mean, the job was processing Processing. What am I saying? Processing.
Processing.
And it's like, yeah, you needed $10,000. Like, well, I'm going to sell some Magic cards to pay for this house.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. So we almost did it again for this new house.
You have more Magic the Gathering cards?
I still have a small collection, which again...
Or your Bitcoin?
I had a small collection of Magic cards. You ready for this? And I was like, okay, we're moving, and I need a nice down payment. So I'm going to sell... I think I had about $8,000 of Magic cards. It's so stupid.
How is that a nice down payment at your house? It's like nothing.
What's that?
For your house.
No, it's something, and it's in paper, it's in cardboard form.
That's the reason why that makes sense. Like, listen, let's just move it along.
So I wrote them down and then did like bare bones completed listings on eBay. Like, okay, low, not like extremes. What I thought was $8,000 was $23,000 of Magic cards that's sitting in my house right now. That's low. It's insane. It's an insane.
You haven't sold those yet?
No. Well, every other time I sold them, I'm like twisting in my mind for years to come. Why I should have. It's a popular game, man. You know what it is? It's popular and it's obtainable by young people.
Yeah.
And the young people grow up and they get jobs. I mean, I've seen people with massive, amazing collections. Amazing. It ends up being their whole life. I would not teach my kids this because it takes over your mind. It's like stocks, man. It's just day trading. How is it any different? Just because it's cards?
No, that's a very smart statement.
Is Goldman Sachs anymore?
The stocks are giving you, but in terms of day trading, that's different.
Yeah.
Day trading, I don't give enough who the company is. It's kind of like whatever, but
Yeah.
But I think it's better than Bitcoin. I'd rather have a rare card that can't be created again than Bitcoin.
That's true. Yeah. Of course.
That's incredible.
It's really wild. And it's fun. I mean, look, it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
The fact is, it started out as just a fun game, and then it turned into like, wait a minute, like you want to pay me how much money for this card? Sure.
So on a slightly different level, my brother and I really get into like rare documents and books. I collect rare books and currency.
Really?
Yes. I like signed rare or first edition books, signed or non-signed.
Like what?
Atlas Shrugged, The Fountainhead.
Wow. You have to leave in like 5 minutes, right?
Security Analysis. Yeah. 11:15.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Security Analysis, things like that. And, it's for a couple of reasons. One, I just like the rarity of them. I just bought The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith, 1819 version.
Wow.
Not signed, obviously. And I'm just, but I guess that's what I spend my stupid money on. I look
Where
at
do you get it?
Rare bookstores. Like that one I got in London because I was in London. I wanted, and Lisa had a good idea. She's like, hey, buy something that's, like you can remember from the trip. And I was like, oh, let's go to a rare bookstore. And we happened to be right next to one. So we went in and there it was. And the guy's name was Angus, who was helping me. He was great.
You said to a guy, that's why you're driving a taxi.
Yes. No. I said, and obviously your business did well, and that's because you're driving a taxi. It was kind of like, that was basically it. Like your business didn't do well.
Wow.
I know it's a rough statement, but at the same token, I wanted to kind of be like.
Is that why Lisa was upset in the car?
Yes, she was really pissed at me in the car. She was like, "You're just." And listen, it wasn't meant to degrade riding a taxi. What it was meant to do was say, "Hey, listen, you have all these ideas." And more power to you, but maybe you have to look at your life decisions and how they've affected you because you're sitting there expecting somebody else to pay for your ideas. But when it came down to you doing it and you claimed you did it, my whole point was you're bullshitting. Like I didn't believe for a second that he had his own business. Mm-hmm. Not for 1 second I believe that. Not for 1 second. I asked him the question. I'm like, he said, oh, London's terrible. Nobody's making money. Only rich people are. I'm like, do you know the average income in London's up 4 times since 1985? I go, are you making less than 1985? Yes. No, you're not. Yes, I am. Okay, so you're telling me that you're running a cab in 1985 was less lucrative. No, I used to be middle management. Are you retired now? Yes. Okay. I mean, the only point, like he was clearly trying to be, he was clearly trying to, even Lisa was like, yeah. And then he talks about how he's middle management and now he's retired. Like, of course he makes less money. He's retired. You know what I mean? It was like an asinine statement.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to give him a tip. I go, Lisa, you give him a tip because I'm not going to give it to him. And finally, then she's like, make good on it. Give him the tip yourself. So I said, all right, socialist, here's your handout.
Oh boy.
He laughed. He was a very nice gentleman, but he was saying asinine things. He literally made up shit. And I was just like, nope, you're wrong. I even yelled fake news. He made up shit. He was literally making up stuff. He's like, there's no way the average income in London is up 4 times since 1985. I go look it up. He goes, well, that's all the media BS. I'm like, you mean the census bureaus? That's your government reporting that to.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't made up bullshit. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Anyhow, so I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. I know it came out disrespectfully, but it wasn't meant to say you're a cab driver, you suck, because that's completely opposite of what I believe. I've always said people, I do have a problem though if you're not doing well in life and you blame somebody else for why you're not doing well in life. And that's what I took it as. He was saying it's only the rich holding us down. It's nobody else. Meanwhile, he's driving a Mercedes around for people to like wealthy people to give him like, tips to the airport. I'm like, here's a tip, pal. Don't say this shit. Oof. It was mean.
You're going to get it raw from Paul.
What was that?
You're going to get it raw from you.
Oh, you're going to get it raw.
Get it raw. Yeah, you're going to get it raw.
Listen, and again,
some people can't take the heat.
And the way I say it can come across very pretentious. It's not intended that. It's just don't blame others for where you are in your life. We all make decisions. When he's saying something about giving somebody a livable wage, I go, well, what if that person has 8 kids? What was their decision? So that's the only decision. What other decisions are just their decision? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all have decisions to make.
Yeah.
Does that mean I don't believe? I told you the other day, I don't disagree with our mutual friends about helping people.
Yeah.
It's just the process in which we do it. I don't believe it's done through forcing others to pay for it when they don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I love the idea of universal health care. I just don't think the way that some parties talk about doing it is the most effective way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us.
Love you. I'm going to go.